Hi, welcome to this new lesson. We have this passage titled Paradise Lost, الفردوس المفقود. He's using the same title of a very famous poem by John Milton. يعني هو يستخدم عنوان مشابه لعنوان قصيدة مشهورة جدا للشاعر جون ميلتون. I think from the 17th century, أعتقد من القرن السابع عشر. This is unit 2. Been there, done that. This is the title. The topics to be covered here are present perfect, simple and continuous, hard verbs, make and do, and finally exclamations. I will start with the passage. I will only read it. I want you to pay attention to the way I read and pronounce words. Paradise Lost. What can be done to stop tourism destroying the object of its affection? Maurice Chandler reports on the boom in world travel. So Maurice Chandler is a reporter, مراسل صحفي, and he has made a report on the boom in world travel, على النمو أو الازدهار في السفر حول العالم. The first sentence gives us an idea about the tone of the article. يعني هذا التساؤل أو الجملة الأولى الموجودة تعطينا فكرة عن النبرة أو عن توجه المقالة. What can be done, ما الذي يمكن القيام به, to stop tourism destroying the object of its affection, لإيقاف السياحة عن تدمير أو من تدمير غرض أو الشيء الذي تعيش عليه. affection هنا بمعنى عاطفة. On the sun-soaked Mediterranean island of Mallorca, the locals are angry. Too late. In the last quarter of the 20th century, they cashed in on foreign nationals, mainly Germans, wanting to buy a property in their idyllic island. Suddenly, it occurred to Mallorcans that the island no longer belonged to them. They don't deny tourism's vital contribution to the local economy. The industry has transformed Mallorca from one of Spain's poorest parts to the richest in per capita income. But the island's 630,000 inhabitants are increasingly convinced that the 14 million foreign visitors a year are far too much of a good thing. Water is rationed, pollution is worsening, and there is no affordable housing left for them to buy. On the other side of the world, 250 Filipinos were recently evicted from their homes. Their lakeshore village of Ambolong was cleared by hundreds of police, who demolished 24 houses. The intention of the authorities was to make way for a major business venture, not oil, logging or mining, but an environmentally friendly holiday resort. A growth industry. Tourism is the world's largest and fastest growing industry. In 1950, 25 million people traveled abroad. Last year, it was 750 million. The World Tourism Organization estimates that by 2020, 1.6 billion people will travel each year, spending over 2 trillion US dollars. The effects of tourism. To millions of tourists, foreign destinations are exotic paradises, unspoiled, idyllic, and full of local charm. But many of the world's resorts are struggling to cope with relentless waves of tourists, whose demands for ever more swimming pools and golf courses are sucking them dry. The issue is massive and global, says Tricia Barnett, Director of Tourism Concern, a charity which campaigns for more responsible approaches to travel. Tourists in Africa will be having a shower and then we'll see a local woman with a pot of water on her head, and they are not making the connection. Sometimes you will see a village with a single tap when each hotel has taps and showers in every room. The problem is that tourists demand so much water. It has been calculated that a tourist in Spain uses up to 880 liters of water a day, compared with 250 liters by a local. An 18-hole golf course in a dry country can consume as much water as a town of 10,000 people in the 10,000 people. In the Caribbean, hundreds of thousands of people go without piped water during the high tourist season, as springs are piped to hotels. Let's go to the next page, second page of the passage. We have winners and losers. The host country may not see many benefits. In Thailand, 60% of the 4 billion annual tourism revenue leaves the country. Low-end package tourists tend to stay at big foreign-owned hotels, cooped up in the hotel compound, buying few local products, and having no contact with local community other than with waiters and chambermaids employed by the hotel. Mass tourism usually leaves little money inside the country, says Tricia Barnett. Most of the money ends up with the airlines, the tour operators, and the foreign hotel owners. These days, the industry's most urgent question may be how to keep the crowds at bay. A prime example of this is Italy, where great cultural centers like Florence and Venice can't handle all the tourists they get every summer. In Florence, where the city's 500,000 or so inhabitants have to live with the pollution, gridlock, and the crime generated by 11 million visitors a year, there is talk not only of boosting hotel taxes, but even of charging admission to some public squares. The idea is to discourage at least some visitors, as well as to pay for cleaning up the mess. The future. For many poor countries, tourism may still offer the best hope for development. The Vietnamese are doing their best to open up their country, says Patrick Duffy of the World Tourism Organization. Iran is working on a master plan for their tourism. Libya has paid 1 million for a study. They all want tourists, and people like to discover other new parts of the world. They are tired of mass tourism. Even if a country doesn't have beaches, it can offer mountains and deserts and unique cultures. Yet, if something isn't done, tourism seems destined to become the victim of its own success. Its impact on the environment is a major concern. In hindsight, tourist organizations might have second thoughts about what exactly they were trying to sell. As Steve Maguire, a tourist consultant, says, tourism, more often than not, ruins the very assets it seeks to exploit, and having done the damage, simply moves off elsewhere. This is the end of the passage. I will discuss the exercises in another video, in a separate one.